All right, so you guys remember that, I'm just going to clip it. You guys remember we want to get your voice. You don't have to have your face on there. We want to get your voice. And hopefully there's a lot of discussion tonight. So Gerald will run mic to you if you have a question, just so everybody that's watching, that gets to watch online, they get to hear the whole conversation and not just the bits and pieces of it. Cool? Cool. All right, so, man, oh man, I don't know how long Christmas is going to last, but we're going to keep it going as long as we can. So, we have been, in a weird way, telling the Christmas story for about 4 weeks now, I guess. And we just got to the actual story and started reading it last week through the eyes and the retelling of Luke, the Gospel of Luke, and the Gospel of Matthew. And it's going to seem like I'm circling back on myself. Last week, when we went through this, when we started to go through the story of the Nativity, the main idea was to point out that this wasn't some kind of Hallmark precious moments type thing, right? Like we set up our nativities and we put a real pretty picture on the Christmas story, but for the people that were involved, the characters that were involved, primarily Joseph and Mary, this wasn't happy-go-lucky, man. They were ostracized. They were set aside. They had to make many sacrifices to complete their purpose and the plan that God had for them, for Him to come into the world. Humbly come into the world, amen? So, and I think we did a pretty decent job of going through that and seeing that for what it is. Is Lisa on the phone over there? All right, yeah. She's doing business. That's all right. Sugar mama, she's making money. So, all right, so we'll give her a pass once. All right. So when I say I'm going to circle back on myself, it's just, guys, as I've been reading through this story and going through the Nativity and seeing it from all these different angles and all the different layers that are in here, and the way that if we get through this tonight and you're not convinced that this book wasn't written by a bunch of dudes that were just putting down stuff. If you're not convinced that they were moved by the Spirit of God to write this in not only the words but the patterns and the symbolism in it, I don't.
Can you just imagine being there?
Yeah.
Writing that?
Yeah, and just the what Wynn was saying, I'll just repeat that, but he said, can you just imagine being there and writing that down? But when we get beyond just the surface story, which that causes us to dig deep into it as well. But when we go back, and I did this week, went back and started to look at the patterns and the way that this is laid out, and the story underneath the story, underneath the story, underneath the story, that couldn't have been processed by the mind of man. You know? And look, I'm not saying that you're a dummy if you don't believe it. I'm just saying that there's a point where there's just too much evidence to say there's not something else involved in the way that this is put together. So I'm going to start us off by taking us all the way back to Matthew's rendition of the genealogy of Jesus, the Messiah. Okay, and I know we went through this last week in kind of a cursory manner, but I'm gonna just read the whole thing. And what I want you to do while I'm reading this is I want you to look for stuff that doesn't seem like it should be there. Okay? That's a clue to us in the Bible that God is trying to point us to something that we should dig deeper into to figure out what's going on. Okay? Does that make sense to you? Pay attention to the weird stuff. When you're reading the Bible, pay attention to the weird stuff. I know I say that a lot, but that's the truth. All right? So I'm going to read us through this. Don't get bored. Take every bit of it in. Be looking for the Easter eggs. Right? We are in Matthew chapter 1, verse 1. This starts off, and I'm just going to take a minute to point this out because this is going to become significant in two different places here at the beginning and the end of this genealogy. In verse 1, it says, "This is the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham." Okay? Two things I want to point out here. The word genealogy here, I've even got a footnote in my Bible that points me down to a further explanation of the word genealogy. And down in that footnote, it says, an account of the origin. Okay? The word in the Greek that's used, that is translated genealogy here, is geneseos. Right? Genesis. Right? Anybody familiar with Genesis? Right? So this is the genesis of Jesus the Messiah. And remember, we started this thing off 5 weeks ago using Genesis as a basis to tell us who Jesus was, right? When God spoke this world into existence, he spoke himself into it. He is the light that came into this world, right? And he never intended for us to do this on our own. He was always here with us. He gave up his glory to come down here and be with us, right? To come into this thing and do it with us. So this is the genealogy of Jesus the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. We've got, this is split into 3 parts, and it's real evident because Matthew tells us I'm splitting this into 3 parts. Abraham was the father of Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob. Jacob was the father of Judah and his brothers. Amen. Judah, the father of Perez and Zerah, whose mother was Tamar. Perez, the father of Hezron. Hezron, the father of Ram. Ram, the father of Amminadab. Amminadab, the father of Nahshon. Nahshon, the father of Salmon. Salmon, the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab. Boaz, the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth. Obed, the father of Jesse, and Jesse, the father of King David. David was the father of Solomon, whose mother had been Uriah's wife. Solomon, the father of Rehoboam. Rehoboam, the father of Abijah. Abijah, the father of Asa. Asa, the father of Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat, the father of Jehoram. Jehoram, the father of Uzziah. Uzziah, the father of Jotham. Jotham, the father of Ahaz. Ahaz, the father of Hezekiah. Hezekiah, the father of Manasseh. Manasseh, the father of Ammon. Ammon, the father of Josiah. Josiah, the father of Jeconiah, and his brothers at the time of the exile to Babylon. After the exile to Babylon, Jeconiah was the father of Shealtiel, and Shealtiel the father of Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel the father of Abiud. Abiud the father of Eliakim. Eliakim the father of Azor. Azor the father of Zadok. Zadok the father of Achim. Achim the father of Elihud. Elihud the father of Eleazar. Eleazar the father of Mathan. Mathan the father of Jacob. And Jacob the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary. And Mary was the mother of Jesus, who is called the Messiah. Thus there were 14 generations in all from Abraham to David. 14 from David to the exile to Babylon, and 14 from the exile to the Messiah. Amen?
Amen.
All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
All during these,
I'm glad you do, because I'm out of breath.
all during the father of this guy, the son, father, and all that.
Yeah.
It doesn't mention anything about their wives.
Actually,
And to the end.
we have got, that is one of the things that it does do in here that is weird for the Bible to have. The Bible doesn't name any women in the genealogies. Generally, we don't see any women in the genealogies. And we talked a little bit about this last week or over the last couple of weeks, that here in this genealogy of Jesus, that we see something, because that's one of the weird things. So I'm glad you brought that up. One of the weird things in this genealogy is that we've got 5 women named. Now, usually it's just going to go from father to son, father to son, father to son, father to son, right? So strange on one hand that we've got women in there at all. And then when you consider the women that we do have in there, it gets even weirder, right? Because every one of these women, we know their story. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about Tamar, the first one that's mentioned here, right? Tamar was married to one of Judah's sons. He died. God took him because he's wicked. The other one mistreated her, and he died. And then Judah tried to pull the old Scooby-Doo on Tamar, just send her off to dad's house and not have her have any kids at all. And she fooled him by disguising herself as a woman of the night, right? And became pregnant by carrying on the line of Jesus, right?